What's up, football fans? Today we're going to be talking about the 10 most impactful free agents so far in the season. Let's get right into it. First up, I got my honorable mentions. I got Darnell Mooney. So I did not like the signing at the time. I felt like it was way too much money for a player who just has never been consistent his whole career. And he's still not really been consistent. He made a lot of big drops this season downfield, and he's given up on routes, just done some really dumb things. But he does have over 300 yards and has just been able to get open and just been a dynamic sort of deep threat gadget guy for the Falcons, who really need that to distract some attention away from Drake London. And my final other honorable mention is going to be Kirk Cousins. Now, he has played on a pretty high level. He is fifth in touchdowns, fifth in yards. He does have 5 interceptions this season, so that's just way too many. And I don't like that his contract is 4 years. I think that was way too much money also, because they're going to be moving on to Michael Penix. And I don't see why you would sign a guy who's like 35 or something for 4 years after he's not even that great of a quarterback. He's not like the highest level of guys. I don't see why you trust him for 4 seasons. Anyways, at 10, I got Brandon Jones. This is a bit of a sleeper one. Not a lot of people are talking about him. He's PFF's second highest graded safety. I think it was a pretty cheap deal too. Maybe $6 million a year or something like that. He's been able to just play safety at such a high level for the Broncos. In fact, he's been the first Broncos player since 2015 to record at least one interception, one forced fumble, one fumble recovery in the team's first 4 games of the season. The last player to do this was Darian Stewart, and he was a member of the no-fly zone, so that's pretty cool for him. He's been a very good coverage player, not allowing very many plays deep down the field, and he's also been a consistent tackler. And he's been a huge part of the Broncos' defense this season, which has been one of the top units in the league. At 9, I got Frankie Luvu. He's been one of the most underrated players in the league for multiple seasons. Now he just got signed to the Commanders. This is a huge loss. This was a huge loss for the Panthers, who their defense just took a huge step back. I think that's one of the big reasons. Luvu is one of the most versatile players in the league. He can play off ball or edge, just two completely different positions at a high level. He can do pass coverage. He's a great run defender, and he just had 2.5 sacks this week with the Browns, just a new career high. He's averaging about 6 or 7 sacks per season while playing most of the snaps in coverage and off the ball at middle linebacker. I just think that was just an insane ad for this Commanders defense, who has just looked so much better than they should have. And you can just see Panthers went from one of the best units in the league to one of the worst, and the Commanders went from the worst to a pretty middle-of-the-pack defense. I think this is a huge part due to Frankie Luvu. At 8, I got Andrew Van Ginkel. Now he went from the Dolphins to the Vikings. This was one of the best signings, obviously, since he's number 8 on the list. He has 2 pick sixes already this season. I think he had one for the Dolphins also earlier in his career. He has 4 picks, 3 pick sixes. Just can get the ball and just go. But the craziest part is that he has more touchdowns this season than Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. That's insane. He's also just mostly a pass rusher. He's kind of a hybrid player, but mostly rushes the passer. He has 3 sacks already this season, and it's just insane that him and Grenard have been able to just keep this edge rush room at such a high level after the loss of Daniel Hunter. At 7, I got Christian Wilkins. He has completely transformed the Raiders' run defense, and he just looked dominant against the Broncos, getting a sack, just playing the run so well. And you just saw what happened once he got hurt in that second half. They just completely, the Broncos just piled on so many points, and the Raiders just had no answers. I think that he was a huge part of the Raiders just hanging in there at the beginning and just starting so strong. At 6, I got Robert Hunt. He's a lineman, so this was a bit harder. A lot of the linemen have kind of flown under the radar. He was paid $20 million per year, and he's definitely backed that up. He's been an insane run blocker for the Panthers and has held his own in pass protection, just completely transformed this offensive line for the Panthers this season. But you look at Chuba Hubbard's splits running to his side versus the other side, it's insane. He's able to push people so far, get to the second level, just do so many great things in the run game. I think that's a huge reason why Chuba Hubbard's looked so good this season. Before we get to the top 5, make sure you guys like and subscribe because it really helps me and the channel. And let's get back into the video. At 5, I got a guy I already mentioned, Jonathan Grenard. He already has 4 sacks. And just that transition from Hunter to him has just been so seamless. He's been such an elite pass rusher. I do think he struggled a lot more in the run game this season than he did last season. I've liked Grenard for 3 or 4 seasons now. He's just been one of the most underrated players in the league, consistently just having production for the Texans even when they were struggling in a terrible team. And he's translated that over to the Vikings. and he's kept that defense just so good. That's one of the best defenses in the league, and he's a huge part of that. At 4, I got Daniel Hunter. Now, he has only had 2 sacks this season, but he's been chipped, double teamed, just so much stuff. Has an insane win rate, pressure rate. He just hasn't been able to get to the quarterback. You just see how much attention that they're putting on him has really freed up the rest of that defensive line for the Texans, as just really helping that defense in general and making them one of the better units in the league. Now, these top 3 are just insane ads, just have been some of the best players in the league. I've seen these on everybody's MVP ballots. They're always in the top 10, and that's just insane since none of them are quarterbacks. At 3, I got Derrick Henry. He's just been insane for the Ravens. He just won that game against the Bengals, getting them right into field goal range after the Bengals missed that kick. Easy field goal range, at least, because the Bengals settled for a 53-yarder, while the Eagles had a chip shot for Justin Tucker to win the game. He's first in the league in rushing yards and touchdowns, 6 yards per carry, just a consistent workload. And he's actually been able to do a decent amount of things in the receiving game compared to the rest of his career. And he's just been able to make insane plays for somebody who's 30 years old. At 2, I got Saquon Barkley. He's averaging 6 yards per carry, and this Eagles offense has just completely been different because of him. You look at Jalen Hurts taking a huge step back. That whole passing game has been terrible. Even with the retirement of Jason Kelce, they've been able to run the ball so well. He's on pace for 1,900 yards. So that's insane. I think it's maybe 2,000 something total yards. Just been one of the best players in the whole league. Probably the best running back. Maybe the offensive player of the year right now. That's just absolutely insane. You look at the difference between him and Swift. You look at the difference between him and Swift. I think Swift was able to just get to 1,000 yards. While Saquon, obviously, it looks like he might double that. I didn't put his full game stats. You look at these last 2 games, he's averaged 8 or more yards per carry and just dominated. Really the only reason why the Eagles have been able to win these past few weeks. And at number 1, this shouldn't shock anybody. I got Xavier McKinney. He's probably like the number 1 guy in defensive player of the year right now, since no pass rusher has been shining too hard right now. He has 5 interceptions, 1 in each of his first 5 games. That is absolutely insane. I believe that's the first time it's ever been done. He has the longest streak of games with an interception, which is 6 because he had 1 with the Giants. He hasn't missed a snap since 2022, played 100% for the Giants, and now 100% for the Packers, just showing durability. He doesn't take breaks. He just always is playing at such a high level. He's allowed 2 catches this whole season on 7 targets, and he has 5 catches, so just don't throw his way. I don't know why people keep doing that. On top of that, he's just a great run defender and is able to eliminate explosive plays. And thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and comment below what free agents I'm underrating or I didn't even have on the list at all because I might have forgotten some. And see you next time.